Hey developers, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with the part number 4 of our CRUD with object oriented PHP video series. In the last lesson, we have learned our create part. If you want to watch that video, the link is in the description. And in today's lesson, we are going to complete our update part. So basically, we are going to update the record which we stored in the database. So without wasting time, let's get into it. Let's go to the index.php file, and if you remember, in our table we have edit button. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to pass an ID of this record using get request, and we are going to fetch the record from the database using that ID and going to update that record. So for that I'll write edit.php. The edit.php file is not exist right now, but we are going to create it in a minute. Okay, so get variable question mark, and we are going to name it like ID. You can name it anything you want, is equal to, and then I'm going to paste this thing. We want to echo the ID, so here, but instead of name we want ID. Okay, save and go to the browser, refresh, and yeah, so you can see in the bottom of the browser at the left side, you can see we have URL edit.php and question mark ID is equal to 3. If I change the next button, so this is showing ID 4 and ID 5, so it is working. So let's go to the code, and we need to create that edit.php file. So new file, save edit.php, and I'm going to copy all the code from create.php file, Control Alt and Control C, in Mac Command A and Command C, and paste it. So we have our edit.php file here. We want to change some data here. So instead of add employees, we need to update or edit employees. We need to fetch that record using that ID. So for that we need to receive that get variable which we have passed in edit button. So for that, what I'm going to do is let's check if that ID variable is set or not. So I'll check if is set get, and that variable name is ID. If it is set, then we are going to receive that variable in a variable. Okay, so I'll take one variable UID, and I'm going to get that variable. Okay, so now we have that ID variable in our $UID variable. Okay, so we are going to use this UID variable, and we are going to fetch that record using this ID. For that we need some functionality to fetch that record, so we need to create that functionality. So where we will create? In our classes. So if you remember, we have employees.php, this employee class. Okay, so inside we have our select method and insert method. Like that, we are going to create one more method to fetch that data from the database using that ID. So here I can do we need to fetch one record using that ID. So I'll say public function, I'll name it select one. You can name it anything you want. Okay, and we are going to receive that ID, so we can pass it to the query. Okay, then I'll write SQL, this will be our query. So in double quotes, select all from, our table name is employees, where our column name is ID in the database. So ID is equal to, we need to use a placeholder, so colon ID, this is the placeholder. Okay, after that we have to prepare our query. So for that I'll take one more variable, stmt, you can name it whatever you want, is equal to, we need our connection, so $this arrow connect method, then I'll use prepare and I'll pass that query string here. Then we are using this placeholder, so we need to bind value, so I'll use stmt bind value like this, and the first parameter is that placeholder, so ID, and second parameter is actual value, so that is $ID, which is we are receiving from here. Okay, then we have to execute this query, so stmt and execute like this. Then we'll save our result in a result variable, and we'll get that result using this stmt fetch, and we'll use style, PDO style, we can call this PDO, and we'll use fetch and sock. This means this will give the result in a associative array. Okay, so in this result variable we have array, then we just have to return that array in small letters, so return result. Alright, then in our edit.php file we want to pass this UID variable to this method select one ID, but to call this method we need to make an instance of that class. So I'll make an instance of that class and I'll save it in a variable which is employee, you can call it whatever you want. So employee is equal to new employee, then I can call that method like this. The method name is select one, and I need to pass this UID variable, okay, which we are receiving it here like this. So this method means we are getting our result from this file, because you can see we are returning our result, so we can save that result in a variable. So result is equal to, okay, now then go to the browser, and what we want to do, we want to fetch that record using that ID, and we want to fetch that record, and we want to display that record here, name, city and designation. Okay, for that we need to go to the edit.php file, and in our form we need to add some value attributes like this. So value is equal to php. Okay, we want to echo, we have this variable result. Okay, so we want to echo the result and name. Okay, this is column name in our database, like this. Then let's copy this to save our time, and paste and paste here city and here designation, like this. Go to the browser and have a look. Okay, go back and let's click this Jobrito edit, and you can see we have named Jobrito New York and sales manager. So now we want, so we can edit from here something Joe Do, and if we submit this, we want to store that value, store that data again in the database. So for that we need some functionality. Okay, so again we'll go to the employee.php file, and we need to create one more method to make that functionality. So public function, and I'll name this function as update. Okay, you can name it anything you want, and I'm going to pass two variables, which is, one is fields. Fields means all our fields, and second is the ID, which field we are going to update that ID. Okay, I'll show you guys how our SQL query will look. So SQL is equal to update, our table name is employees, update employees, and set name is equal to name, city is equal to city, this placeholders we are using now, and designation is equal to designation, like this. Okay, so basically our query will look like this. So let's generate that query dynamically. Okay, let me write all the code, then I'll explain what is happening here. So I'll write this code. I'll take one variable st, then I'll take one counter, which is 1, and I'll take total fields variable. We want to count our total fields, which is 1. No, total fields, we have PHP inbuilt method which we can count elements of the array. So in our case we need to count how many elements are in the array name fields. Okay, so this will give us the total number of elements. So how many fields are there, this will tell us. Okay, this count function. Then we need a for each loop. Alright, fields as key and value, and I'll open if statement, counter is equal to total fields then set $set is equal to key is equal to colon and concatenate with the key. $st is equal to $st concatenate with $set. Okay, else statement here. So in else block I'll say set is equal to $key is equal to colon and concatenate with key. Again concatenation with comma and semicolon. $set $st is equal to $st concatenation with $set, and here I want to increment our counter variable like this. Okay, all right. Then I have to write SQL empty string, then SQL concatenate update. Our table name is employees, set id set st and again concatenate where id is equal to $id like this. Okay, so guys, basically this code is doing nothing but just generating a one line of this code. Okay, then we need to prepare that statement. For that I'll write $stmt is equal to $this connect, this is our database connection, and then prepare SQL. Okay, then we need for each loop like this, and fields key value, and we are going to bind that placeholders to the value. So I'll write stmt bind value, and as you know, our first parameter is our placeholder, which is colon and the key, and the second parameter is actual value, like this. Then we need to execute our query. So stmt exec is equal to stmt execute, like this, and we can check if query is successful, then like this. If this is true, means our query is successful, then we need to redirect our user to the index.php file. So location colon index.php. Okay, then finally we need to go to edit.php file, and here we need to create the instance of that class, so we can call this method. Okay, so I'll say employee is equal to new employee. Then I can use employee like this, and I can call that method, which is update. And it has two fields, which is one is fields and second is ID, but we don't have ID yet, so I'm going to catch that ID also. So ID is equal to, which is inside this, like this. So okay, from fields we don't have ID passed from here, as you can see, so we need to add one hidden field there. So inside our form I'll say input type hidden, and name will be ID, and value will be PHP open and close echo, and a result this ID. Okay, yes. Now go to the browser and hit refresh. Okay, we have error, so let's see what errors we have. Okay, so I don't need city here. Save hit refresh and edit this last record. We'll say John Smith and hit submit. Okay, we have one more error, so let's go and check what is happening on line number 93, employee.php. here. So what error we have? Let's go and check our code once. Okay, we have one extra space here. Okay, I'll remove that space and let's see what else we have. One more extra space we have. Okay, here also we don't need that space. Okay, save and go to the browser again and hit refresh. Okay, so now our code is working and you can see we have changed our name successfully. You can change sales manager to project manager. Okay, submit and you can see now Joe Smith has a designation of project manager. Okay, so for this video that's it guys, and thank you for watching my videos. In the next video we'll complete our delete part, so stay tuned and take care. Bye bye.